Treasurer, thank you for being before the committee today. I greatly appreciate it. In a previous life, I worked at J.P. Morgan Private Bank, and we actually went through a custody move from one institution to another. And I will agree with your assessment that it was a difficult process, to be candid. With that being said, I do think there is merit to at least putting out an RFP with regard to it. I think you're correct in that there are only several institutions that could custody funds of that size. And I think it might be a little bit more than 3, but it's certainly a handful. But these are, and they are very large and complicated transactions for sure. But they're also something that these institutions would go after with great gusto, because these are, real, I don't want to say they're plums, but they are contracts that these institutions fight for. And I think there would be a very vigorous, there would be a lot of interest, let me put it that way, from the institutions about putting forth bids. And I frankly think the minimal benefit, at the very minimum, we might get a better rate from Bank of New York. So I appreciate your thoughts on that.
I don't disagree that is the right approach. That was the approach Treasury was on the course of taking a year or so before I got there, and it's something that I will I will consider that. What I do disagree with is the idea of moving from a system that has served the Commonwealth well for there to be one custodian of all the Commonwealth funds. But as to your point about it is always a good idea to sort of compare notes. And you're right, there's a value to these that goes maybe the simple dollars. These are in some senses feathers in people's business caps. Those are two different issues. What I'm intrigued by is that this issue has arisen in a kind of specific context quite recently, where there are some other issues going on. I think it is an important one. It goes to what kind of which direction we want to go and how much or little visibility we want to have into all these funds.
My second question is on a different topic. It deals with the method by which the Commonwealth issues general obligation debt. So, and this has to do with legislation that I ran last year that was ultimately vetoed, and my hope is we might be able to run it again this session with a different outcome. But, there's a difference. There are many different ways you can issue general obligation debt. Currently, the Commonwealth uses a system called level annual debt service, which makes the payments equally over 20 years. The proposal I put forward and that had seen broad bipartisan support, I think there were only 4 no votes in the whole General Assembly, would be through level annual principal. So we pay down principal faster, and it costs less to borrow money over the long term. So your payments on your GO bonds would be a little bit higher up front, but over the life of the loan would be significantly less. I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on that proposal.
I would like to review the specifics of it, but in general, I'm open to that, and I kind of share some of the concern that may be behind it. We currently, and again, we've disclosed this on part of our transparency efforts, we currently have about $12.5 billion outstanding in GO debt, which comes with about a $4.7 billion in interest payments expected on the current debt load. If you look at our debt relative to other states, and again, debt can be good when it's used for good purposes or not, our GO debt load is kind of we are about average. What's driving up our sort of overall debt ratio to a level that is really higher than some other states is unfunded post-employment benefits and the unfunded liability of the pension plans. And when you look at all those three, in terms of the CAFR, we have we're sort of higher than many others. I'm open to looking at the specifics of your bill. understand what you're trying to accomplish, and am inclined to, would be inclined to be supportive, but I'd like to review the details of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Treasurer.
Thank you.